Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth was an amazing game, and we absolutely loved the living daylights out of it. Seeing Kiryu and Kasuga working together across the ocean to take down an international scheme was just a sight to behold. It was also our first time seeing Kiryu in action as a turn-based RPG character, even though he's too much of a Chad to be contained within his genre and will But the RPG system, specifically the party aspect, does more than just give us a fresh new way to experience the game. It also serves a narrative purpose. It drives home a central theme in Kiryu's story arc. Spoilers ahead for Infinite Wealth. Maybe watch your other Like a Dragon stuff if you haven't played Infinite Wealth yet. The series shifted from its beat-em-up action days to the new turn-based RPG system when Yakuza Like a Dragon was released back in 2020. This is the new direction that the series wanted to go into as they passed the baton to Kasuga Ichiban. Even in the first game, the change to a turn-based RPG had some narrative purpose as it helped demonstrate that Kasuga Ichiban is a crazy person. I mean, it helped demonstrate that he used to be really into RPGs and so desperately wanted to be a cool, world-saving hero like in the games he played when he was young. The spirit stays with him throughout his whole life, so much so that his delusion has taken the form of viewing street fights in a turn-based battle format, among other things. So we know that the Like a Dragon series isn't a stranger to putting some narrative meaning into their gameplay choices. I mean, we see it when Kiryu starts and goes back to his action game roots. That's just him mustering what's left of his former strength to go all out. After all, he can't push himself too hard anymore because of his old age. And it's because of Kiryu's condition that now more than ever, Kiryu needs assistance. But for someone like Kiryu, a legendary Yakuza, who has stoically tackled so much on his own, needing constant assistance is something that's quite foreign to him. And that's what we wanted to talk about today. As it did for Ichiban, Infinite Wealth's RPG combat system similarly serves a narrative purpose for Kiryu. After so many years of fighting alone, Kiryu is unfamiliar to relying on others, and it's the RPG system that shows this journey of getting used to having a party that can support him. As we all know, Kiryu has been an action game protagonist all his life. A lot of action games aren't really known for party play. We can just look at a recent example of a game that went in the opposite direction. Final Fantasy went from a turn-based RPG to an action RPG. Small changes were already in place as early as the post-FF10 era, indicating that the series was going in that direction. However, FF16 can be considered the series' full transformation into an action game, even employing Devil May Cry 5 veteran Ryota Suzuki to help design its combat system. Final Fantasy's turn-based gameplay focuses on a party of characters working together like a well-oiled machine, using their unique skills, complementing each other's strengths, and covering each other's weaknesses to defeat their enemies. On the other hand, while FF16 had Jill to cover for Clive, she was less of an equal player character and more of a background character to Clive, at least on the battlefield. Clive, on the other hand, was out there destroying monsters and soldiers left and right without breaking a sweat. After all, one of the most appealing elements in most popular action games is that they like making you feel like a one-man army, a me against the world kind of feeling. That's what the older Yakuza games felt like. Sure, sometimes you'd have help like how Nishiki, Oda, and Tachibana would join you in fights in Zero. But let's be honest, just like Jill and FF16, companion characters don't really do a lot for you in these situations. Well, the combo heat actions were pretty cool though. But that's the thing, gameplay puts the spotlight on the protagonist. The main character gets things done because they're the main character. And throughout most of Yakuza, it was Kiryu, the unstoppable dragon of Dojima, against the world. And while the dragon of Dojima has taken on the world multiple times and has come out the victor, there comes a point when the world gets the upper hand.
俺はな、ガンなんだ。
And that's where we find our Kiryu in Infinite Wealth, worn down by time and illness. While Kiryu can definitely still kick my butt all the way to the next city, he's not the one-man army he used to be. We even see this early on when he chose to retreat, despite Kasuga's confidence that he and Kiryu could easily take on Yamai and his goons. So how can Kiryu get it done in his condition? Well, he needs to realize that things are different, and that he needs help. He needs people looking out for him, watching his back, a party. But for Kiryu, working in tandem with others is something he's not used to. He's worked with others before, but usually it's for a big fight at the end of the story. Insert "We Are the Yakuza 4" joke here. Kiryu hasn't worked with people long-term like this before, And understandably, he has a lot of hesitations with this setup. Outside of just not being used to it, there are a lot of reasons why he's hesitant. He's also a very stubborn, I go my way kind of guy. And somewhat related to that, he just wants to help and thinks other people may stop him from doing so, considering his current health condition. Knowing Kiryu, the following may be the most important reason. He worries that he'll put the people around him in danger. It's not the first time after all. He has witnessed many people deal with the consequences of just being around him. His kids come to mind immediately with how often they get threatened just for being Kiryu's kids. Being the kind of guy Kiryu is, he doesn't want to put others in harm's way. However, throughout the story, various people tell Kiryu that he needs to learn to rely on others, that he's not alone, and that there are people out there willing to stick their necks out for him. And that's where Infinite Wealth's choice of having a party system shines. Turn-based RPGs emphasize synergy and teamwork, and it's not just one character who's doing all the heavy lifting. It's a great way to show a Kiryu that's getting used to relying on people. After all, most RPGs with parties usually have a very buddy-buddy bunch. Baldur's Gate 3, the Tales of series, and the MVP of buddy-buddy RPGs, the Persona series. And well, throwback to that joke we made for the Infinite Wealth review video. And like the other games mentioned, Infinite Wealth also implemented features that allow you to be more acquainted with your party members. You can find places around town where you can chat with them and learn more about them. You can even do subquests dedicated to them in the form of drink links. The closer you get to them, the more you can bring out their power, work better with them, and even be able to do tag team attacks with the other party members. Throughout the story, we see Kiryu warming up to being surrounded by friends again after such a long time, spending alone as per the Daidoji's orders. Even comfortable enough to join in some really silly dialogue.
おい、今なんつった？失礼なやつだな。俺にだって恋愛経験はある。
Well, Kiryu is not really a stranger to saying dumb stuff either. Through spending time with the party, Kiryu's hesitations about teaming up with people slowly die down. The party knows that Kiryu is a stubborn person, but then our party is also full of stubborn people as well. Kiryu needs people around him as stubborn as he is, to remind him not to push himself. Kiryu wants to help the way he can, but with his condition, it's hard for him to do that now. And that's why he needs the party around to support him, so that even with his condition, he can do what he can, and be there for the people who need him in turn. And his worries about putting people in harm's way? Well, Kiryu should know by now, with all the fights and dangerous situations they've been in, that his party won't give in without a proper fight. He fought the legendary Sanjima alongside his party after all. That's no small feat. But of course, Kiryu being Kiryu is a hard-headed man up to the end. Even after all they've been through, in the end, Kiryu still turns around to Nanba, Songhee, Saiko, and Zhao, and asks if they want to turn back. He says that this is his fight, and that they don't have to go along with it. Hearing that, the whole party calls him out on his bull. Nanba steps up and says, "Friends don't let friends go into danger on their own." He continues, saying that Kiryu is trying to carry too much weight on his own, and that Kiryu doesn't need to. After all, Kiryu's got friends with him to help shoulder the burden. Kiryu recognizes his party's resolve, and that sometimes he just forgets that there are people here for him. That he's done so much for people, and there are people willing to give back to him, willing to put their lives on the line for him. With this, he finally understands that it's okay to rely on other people. It's fine to need help. With this renewed realization and resolve, Kiryu himself learns to ask the party,
じゃあ、俺のわがままに一つ手貸してくれ。
Thanks for watching our video on Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. We really loved Infinite Wealth, and we hope that our video gave you a little bit more to appreciate about the game. Like and subscribe for more video game related content, and we hope to see you in the next video.
Yakuza!